What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all on analysisplayground.com on YouTube. It's fun. We did the top five players. We did the instant analysis. There'll be more instant analysis today on Monday. We're gonna be talking about who's the best player in general, and I have to go with the consensus: Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is averaging 30 points like 10 other players so far this season. This is a crazy start to the NBA season. A lot of people going for 30 plus just for averaging, just like Luka. Steph Curry is one of them. Jayson Tatum is one of them. John Morant is another, to name a few that has been 30 balling in the first couple games. And it's fun to see. It's tough to watch sometimes to see how easy a lot of these buckets are, but it's part of the game. When we look at the most complete player on both ends of the court, the best two-way player is Giannis. When you look at blocks, when you look at steals, when you look at rebounds, when you look at the fact that he can pass, he can play in transition, he can dunk, he has a decent mid-range fadeaway, a decent mid-range pull-up. Only thing he's missing is a three-point shot, but his strengths are just so much better in the mid-range and in that there's no point of him even shooting a three because his athleticism, his length, and his size is unmatched, especially when you look at the speed and verticality that he has too. On top of that, it makes sense for him to play the way that he plays, and there's no reason for him to shoot a bunch of threes because he's just such a beast in the paint. And then you look at the fact that he is one of the best help defenders, and you look at the fact that he is a guy that can be unstoppable, going for 50, going for 40 multiple times throughout his career. Already scored 14,000 points at the age of 27 years old. That's more than some guys that's been in the league longer than him, and it just shows you how dominant he has been in the interior, and the fact that he still can make push shots. He has a right and a left hook that looks more like little push shots because he's just so tall, but it just shows you how great Giannis really is and how unstoppable he is as a player on both ends of the court. He is a guy that won MVP multiple times. He is a guy that won Defensive Player of the Year. He is a guy that has won an All-Star in a Finals MVP, leading a team to a title against some tough competition like the Big Three with the Brooklyn Nets, the Atlanta Hawks, and obviously the Phoenix Suns, who was the number 2 team in the entire NBA that year and breezed past the Western Conference. And Giannis went for 50 points just to make sure that whatever he had left in the tank, he wasn't going to lose that championship to a team like Phoenix. This is his first chance, a chance to go down in NBA history as one of the greatest teams and one of the best players in NBA history, which he did at the Top 75 celebration, which I did attend in Cleveland, Ohio, and it was an honor to see Giannis do it so quickly. He made it look easy. He made it look difficult at the same time because he had chances where he could have quit, he could have gave up, he could have left the Bucks, he could have asked for a trade, but instead he grit and grinded out and ended up bringing them a title. And they are the best team, the only team that's left that's unbeaten at this point. And they don't even have Chris Middleton and Pat Connaughton and other guys have been missing with injuries, and they still look like a dominant force like they did in 2021 and prior seasons, especially after the Drew Holiday trade. They have been the number 1 team in the NBA before. They have topped the NBA with a championship, and they seem like they're trying to get another one with Giannis, and that's the goal that they should have. And he is, to me, the best player because he have achieved everything that every other player on this list have done, if not more. And that's why he's one of the greatest players ever. And I had to give him credit just like the NBA did when they honored him in the top 75 celebration. Another top 75 performer, Stephen Curry. I have him second because he did average 30. He had a great season. He tailored off a little bit with injuries as the season went on, but had a dominant playoff run, a dominant NBA Finals, averaging over 30 points per game in the Finals, having an all NBA season, can pass, can assist, can scorch from three, from mid-range, guys, the floater, has the layups. Defense has got slightly better as he got older just because he has better defensive players like Andrew Wiggins and Draymond in the starting lineup in Kevon Looney. And even though Klay Thompson came back, he has been scorching the NBA the last 3 years, getting another scoring title last season. And it just shows you how great Steph Curry really is as a player and how great of an offensive weapon that he really is in the NBA. I love to see Steph Curry get honored at the top 75 celebration. He deserved it. He earned it, getting his first Finals MVP to cap off the 75th greatest season. The 75th season, and as one of the greatest players and one of the greatest point guards ever in NBA history, and in greatest scorers too in NBA history, as he has picked up multiple scoring titles on his journey. in the NBA. Number 3, I have Nikola Jokic just because he was MVP. When you look at the fact that he can post anybody, he can pass, he can handle the ball, he can shoot the mid-range, he can shoot the three, he can shoot the free throw line. Only thing that he was lacking was defense, but his defense wasn't terrible last year because he just uses his big body and his length as his advantage. His defense finally wasn't a liability. And the crazy part about it is they didn't have no Jamal Murray or no Michael Porter Jr., and they still was a top 6 team in the NBA and Western Conference, and they still even beat the Warriors one time. They had kept it competitive while missing their 2 best players outside of Jokic. And it just shows you how dominant, how great that Jokic really is as a player, as an individual. He just makes everybody's job easier, everybody better around him, and just a dominant force in that paint and on the perimeter. And he's a great screen setter too. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Joel Embiid from last year, just because he was a scoring champion. Averaging 30 points is not easy in the NBA, especially when you do it for 82 games. He didn't do it for the entire 82 games, but he played majority of the season. He had problems with Ben Simmons missing games, and he didn't use that as an excuse. He kept the Sixers in the playoff race, ultimately allowing them to finish top 6 in the Eastern Conference, and even allowed them to win the playoff series against the Toronto Raptors. Embiid has been an influential and an impactful player. It would be great to see him as a top 100 player, but this scoring champion just shows you that Embiid has more to do. He was known for his defense and his post. Now he's hitting mid-ranges. Now he's hitting threes. Now he's attacking better off the dribble. His offensive game has finally caught up to his defense, and his defense slipped a little bit because of it. But with Harden coming in, Maxey, Tobias, and PJ Tucker, that should allow him to be better on the defensive end because they don't have to do as much, because they should be able to contain people on the defensive end in front of them, so he don't have to do as much defensively in the paint as he had to do to clean up a lot. Which could make him more impactful defensively as the season goes on. Obviously, he hasn't done that yet. He's been a slouch defensively, but offensively, he also been a slouch as the season started. But like I said, he started a little shaky when the season started, and then thrived as the season went on. It's an 82-game season. It's a long year. Number 5, I got Luka. Luka finally gets top 5 just because of his start and how he finished the season. 3 straight All-NBA first teams. That definitely means he's a top 5 player. It's not a one wonder boy wonder. That's what they call him overseas, and they call him over here Luka Wonderboy Doncic. He is a wonder to watch, just because I wonder how he scores all his points, get the rebounds and the assists. He's a triple-double watch. He already has more triple-doubles than Michael Jordan's entire career, and he's not even 25 years old yet. He already has 3 All-NBA first-team appearances, like I keep saying, because that's just impossible to do, but he has already achieved that while still leading the Mavericks to playoff appearances 3 times, and also led them to the Western Conference Finals already before 25, and even gave the Warriors some fits as they lost in 6 games. Luka Doncic is a franchise-altering, franchise-changing player. We knew that going into the draft, and he has proved that up until this point in the NBA. Number 6, Jayson Tatum, getting the team to the NBA Finals, being the Eastern Conference MVP, and pushing the Warriors to 6 games when we was a young team still hungry. Remind us of the 2015 Warriors, where they had to get things right as the season went on, and ultimately made the finals, but they ended up winning. We ended up losing. That's the difference. I like the adjustment of putting Derrick White in the starting lineup. It allows Tatum to be more free and to spend most of his energy on the offensive end. And we see him erupt for 40 and 50-point games more frequently, like we also have seen at the start of this season. And the fact that not only is Jayson Tatum doing it more frequently, he's doing it more efficiently, finishing better, passing better, rebounding better, body looks better, confidence looks better, three-point stroke looks better than ever. He just looks like the Tatum that we imagine him being, but reality is he is that guy now. And seeing him in the top 6 players in the NBA is reality, especially when you based off how he ended the season in the Eastern Conference, and then made it to the finals, led the team to the finals as the best player, how he played in the playoffs, and how he's playing at the start of this season, averaging over 30 points per game. He definitely is top 6. Ja Morant, I got him. He has got off to a great start the last 2 seasons, made it to the All-Star team, made it to the All-NBA team. I could continue to see better future for him. He is a guy that led this team to a 50-win season. I know they was 20-5 without him, but with him as the best player, they made it out of the first round. They was able to coast record-wise into a 50-win season, which was tough last year because there's a lot of great teams, and it's going to be the same this year. But Ja Morant already had a 50-ball already to start this season, already a 30-point scorer again. We'll just see if he can keep the offense up the entire season as he went off a little bit and cooled and calmed way down as the season continued to go on. We'll see if that changes this year. Can he kick into gear and keep it in automatic, or will he, simmer down and sizzle a little bit as the season go on? His defense is his concern. His three-point shooting and his free throw shooting is the things he needs to improve on. I have a breakdown on Ja Morant eventually next year or this year. LeBron James, he went all the way down my list because of what he did this year. I know you have to base off what he did last year: 29 points, the rebounds, the assists. The defense has slipped. The free throw shooting and the three-point shooting has been a concern, but the three-point shooting has been a bigger concern this year. His defense has been abysmal this year to me too, but it's the start of the season, and I had to factor in last year, how he played, and the fact that he was injury prone a lot the last 3 seasons, and he had a lot of them last year. And it's the lower leg injuries that you concerned about, because that take away his mobility and it takes away his athleticism and his ability to get the rim, which is LeBron best skills, and it takes away your ability to shoot jump shots because it makes it tougher to have the air and the balance that you need and the requisite shot lift that you need to get the shot off cleanly, and that could be a reason why he hasn't shot the ball well. Number 9, Jimmy Rickety Tickety Butler has made it to the Eastern Conference Finals twice, once making it to the NBA Finals. The second time was this year against my Celtics. He plays better in the playoffs. You want your superstars and your star players to play better in the playoffs. He scores more and does more when the playoffs and the moments are bigger. And they went 7 games with the Boston Celtics before ultimately losing. And it was mainly because Jimmy Butler, offense and defensive play, he can get steals, he can get rebounds, he can get blocks, he can get assists, but he also can go for 30 to 40. He has the most games in Heat history already in the playoffs. And it's just because he's just in a different gear. He seems like he knows how to control his temper, his game, and he even knows how to relate to his teammates, and he even know how to set them up and let them feast and eat during the regular season, and just turns it into an MVP, Finals MVP type performances like we've seen in the finals. Some of the greatest performances was by Jimmy Butler in a Miami Heat uniform. And I think that his performances will help him make top 100 when it comes around, because he made another All NBA team, another All Star team, and he had another great playoff run with the Heat again. And like I said, he did get to the third round again and pushed us to 7 before we ultimately eliminated him. And remember, they had injuries to key players in that series, and Jimmy Butler still almost got us. And number 10, James Harden. I think Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant declined too much just because they don't play as much. They're starting to lose less than 50 games per season, and when you have guys that can score just as well as you and can put up the same numbers as you can offensively, but you just play less games and your team win less games. You look at the fact that the Sixers won more games than the Nets and the Clippers, and the fact that Harden played more games than Joel Embiid. Then Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard, and he can score just as many points, get as many rebounds as a shooting guard, and he's smaller, and he can get more assists. He was second in assists this year to Chris Paul with 10, and you look at the fact that he got off to a better start this year than Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard, who already missed games, and the fact that he can score just as well as Kevin Durant, just not as efficient. But when you factor in the rebounds and the assists and the fact that he's more healthier, and the fact that the Sixers have a better record again than the Brooklyn Nets, who he ended up leaving the Nets for to go to the Sixers. They had a better record last year than the Nets, and they finished better record wise in the playoffs, getting past the Toronto Raptors. And this year they're 3-4, while I think the Nets are 1-5, and Kevin Durant has been healthy every single game, scoring buckets, getting buckets, but his defense just as bad as Harden. The offense is about the same, but the all around play is still in Harden's favor and the efficiencies in Kevin Durant's favor. But when you factor in the health concerns, James Harden has showed up to play more games and has helped the Sixers and the Nets win more games than when Kevin Durant is healthy. And that's just a no-no when it comes to factoring who's better. Games won does matter, and Harden has him beat with that. And that's even after leaving Brooklyn, which he was a part of 2 seasons ago. if not just last year, I should say. And they still finished with a better record the last 2 years so far. And that's a concern if you're a Kevin Durant fan, as he has continued to decline in health and then play defensively. And he's just becoming worse than James Harden at this point. At one point, it was Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant being better than Harden, undoubtedly. Now you can look at the fact that he has almost the same amount of scoring titles. He has the same amount of MVPs, which is one. And you look at the fact that he had a better scoring. KD's career high is 32. I think Russell Westbrook's 31. James Harden is 36. 35 or 36 twice. 35 plus seasons. Well, 34 plus seasons was James Harden favored. Then you look at the fact that he led the league in assists before and he came close last year. James Harden has been a better all-around player than Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook over the long haul, even after the fact that they all the same ages. James Harden may have a better career, and then you look at the fact that Russell Westbrook tailored off the last 2 years, and you look at the fact that Kevin Durant has two since he went to Brooklyn. This is his third season. He looks worse. I know he had the Achilles injury, but he's still so much longer and so much taller than everybody else. And James Harden is just the same size basically as Russell Westbrook, but he just has a different play style. But he has been better than Russell Westbrook, being an All-Star the last 3 seasons compared to Russell Westbrook missing the All-Star game even in Washington, and he's going to miss it again this year. While James Harden looks like he's definitely going to be a lock for an All-NBA spot or All-Star spot or both, and that just helps his case of being better than Russell Westbrook, and the fact that he was top 75 too this year alongside Russ and Kevin Durant, and he came off the bench for that team, even though he should have started. To me, even in the finals, that would help them have a better shot of winning it. Even though he played terrible, that may be a reason too. But Harden has caught up to me, and the fact that he got 20,000 points too, and he's not that far from Harden and Westbrook in that category too. And Harden may have the better career out of all of them when it's all said and done, if he continues this pace that he's on by just out squeezing out better seasons as the longevity goes. Longevity does matter in career all time, not as recent, but it's starting to factor in right now when I look at Harden's career. But other than that, Quinn Wade Basketball Knowledge, sign out on Knowledge Playground. Let me know what you agree or disagree in the comment section below. The list will also be in the description in the comment section below for people that want to see or forget. Other than that, see you guys later.